my mobile data.
Oh wow! So we're live.
I think we're live, guys.
Yeah.
I think we're live. We're live on the air, worldwide.
Hello. Oh,
Hello. Hello there.
hi.
Hey.
Hopefully the connection's not too bad. Yeah. So it says we have one viewer. If you're on here, let us know. Say hey.
I'm gonna share it out.
How are you?
They're gone.
Yeah.
They may or may not be back.
Please bear with me as I share out to groups and stuff.
Yeah. So last week we did a presentation on loving yourself into a better relationship. Does anyone have any more thoughts on what the things we covered last week, or any other sort of lessons or ideas surrounding that?
For people joining, should we have like a recap of what was discussed last week? So there's context, and then I guess people can jump in with things that may be relevant to that. Or
Cool. Yeah, so we did a presentation. Just changing the background now. So this is like the first time we've done this, so we're just trying to iron out some technical difficulties. Clearly.
Yeah.
But last week, Zach and Mia did a presentation on loving yourself into a better relationship. And that was part 3 of a 6-part series we're doing with Be the Change Collective, our online community where we're sharing great ideas about how to live our best lives. So this is part 3 of our self-love series, loving yourself into a better relationship, which I think we had the best turnout ever last week on our meeting, didn't we? We had like
18 people,
I think, at the start.
20.
So it was really good. So, I mean, there's a few ideas that we all shared. Mia shared the amazing letter from Albert Einstein to his daughter, which was very cool. And Zach went into love cultivation and emotional healing, so you can connect yourself fully before you go into a relationship, potentially. So has there been any other ideas surrounding this in the last week, do you think? Or like you guys had a few of the attendees message you, didn't you?
yeah, it was lovely to get a nice response from people and how it resonated. I think I don't think the video is that quite yet on YouTube. But once it is, like, you know, it's well worth having a look at it. It was a nice discussion that we had afterwards as well, in relation to how other people perceived what self-love means to them, and just kind of extrapolating some of the ideas from that. So far as any additional thoughts that have come to mind, I was going to share this in our group, but I went to a group meeting on Tuesday, and we was talking about, you know, what essentially is love and how can we distill it and explain it to people. And a really great, well, I find it great piece of wisdom was shared, is that effectively, what is love and what is service there's a phrase like there's no higher form of love than service to another being, you know, just from a place of heart-centeredness and love. And there's three tenets to it. One is to keep people warm, to keep people fed, and to make people inspired. And it's those three things. So that's beautiful. You know, it's about sustenance. You know, we set a roof overhead to keep warm, to feed someone food in your belly and be grateful for that. But also, you know, to inspire people, to be inspired within themselves, you know, to inspire them to be the best version of themselves, or, you know, to inspire them to do what they always wanted to do. It's, you know, that is service to another person. And that is love, because you're doing it from a place of selflessness. It's just wanting to love thy neighbor, or thy brother or sister, you know. It's like, and I just thought that was really profound, because they're quite simple things, you know, to have warmth, to be fed, to inspire, but actually they're really core tenets, I think.
Do you think those tenets, like the warmth and to be fed, are quite metaphorical or like literal? Like, because like you want to feel like warmth, like someone's embrace and like their presence, and to be fed, like, I don't know what that would mean metaphorically, to be fed.
Well, there's nourishment, isn't it? Like, you get nourishment. Some people don't even eat. I mean, if we talk about yogis, some are breatharians, or, you know, prana. Like, to be fed is, in my interpretation, is to be nourished. And how do we get nourishment? Yes, one form of that may be food and maybe water, but we get nourished by maybe the presence of friends, social interaction. That's why a lot of people may feel undernourished at the moment, because of the lack of social interaction. They may get nourishment from their family, from their loved ones, from their partner. You know, there's different forms of nourishment. And in the same way with the warmth, I love that, because I never really thought about it. You know, instead of saying a roof over someone's head, exactly, warmth could be the warmth of another soul to another. You know, genuine care, you know, being valued, and feeling held could be warmth as well.
Yeah, it's so many different ways of, we're talking about like loving yourself into a better relationship, and then you have to kind of ask yourself, well, what is love? What is love in a relationship? And then we have these long conversations about what love is. But because I've been thinking about this more, and like those things there, you like those tenets, I didn't really see them as, that is not love. And so like those are what make up a loving relationship. But I think love is an energy, a feeling, a vibration that you can tap into if you're in a meditation and you're meditating on love or divine love, love between all things. You can really feel that. You can just connect with that deeply and feel so crazily full of joy and love and just elated in those moments. And there's no one else there to love. No one's loving you. You're not in a relationship with another human being, say, but so I think it's just like a feeling. That's what love is. But then a loving relationship comes in all those other things, those tenets and things like that, which we talked about before. And I talked about what I thought was like love was acceptance, judgment, and forgiveness. Because like to love someone, you have to accept them fully for every aspect of what they are, to completely love every part of them. But also someone that you love, you also can judge. You can only really, I believe, judge the people that you love. As a parent, a loving parent, you have to judge your children, because if you just let them do whatever they want and accept them completely for who they are, then they might you have to put them straight sometimes. You have to tell them off, and that might hurt their feelings, but that is still a loving relationship. And then, but then forgiveness, like if the child messes up, You have to judge them for it, say that was wrong, like that was dumb, but I forgive you.
I think judgment is such a very strong word. Or maybe I'd like for the word guidance, because we, as parents, we like to guide your child through life and guide them in their highest possible path. I think you both want the best for your child, and I believe that the best for your child is not necessarily what you want, but making sure that what your child wants to do gets fulfilled when they're an adult.
Yeah, but a 2-year-old that wants the toy in the shop, you know, and is having a temper tantrum, it's like you guys say no. Like you have, like, I know, like judgment is seen as a very harsh word. Like, oh, you're judging someone; it's very negative. But like God, right, is the eternal judge, and at the end of life, supposedly, you get judged. Or throughout life you get judged, or that's what karma is, you know. That is like the universe judging you for your actions.
I don't think there is a judge. I used to think there was. I don't believe there is a judge.
But that's the idea of it, is like the eternal Father is the all-loving but also eternal judge that will forgive you.
As I see that, it's like we're the only ones that are judging ourselves. So in terms of karma, it's like, say we make an action, we hurt someone, we then have to repay not just that action really, but just like we have to repay the innocence of that action. Like we've harmed innocence, so we now have to help innocence, and so that's the rebalancing. But it's like when we get to the end of our life and we have our life review, in a way we could say that it's God judging us, because everything is God, so including ourselves. But really, how I see it is we are judging ourselves, because it's the actions that we put forth that we then have to reflect upon. But God won't actually judge us. God made us as separate egos so that we could experience judging ourselves.
Yeah, judge is a hard word, but at the end of the day, if you're in a relationship and that person is not, maybe they've slipped and they're doing things you don't like now, they're doing things that you don't agree with, and you think they shouldn't be doing in this relationship, then for you to even be thinking that, then you are judging them.
How would you? So I'm really interested about this, Chris. So let's say, for example, your partner does something or starts some kind of habitual process which you don't believe is in her best interest, or is changing the dynamic of the relationship. So walk me through that process. Like, how would you have that conversation from a love-based perspective with your partner?
Chris, before you that, can you turn the chat overlay on so that I can invite some interaction moving throughout the. Thank you.
Yeah, please, guys, if you're on here, let us know. Say hi.
YouTube or Facebook.
Questions.
Yeah.
So YouTube and Facebook, is it? I think. Yeah. How would So
let's set up the scene. So what would be the issue? Like, off the top of your head, what would be an issue? How would you talk to them about it? And what would
say there's two people in a relationship, and one of them starts just doing. One of them takes up smoking. They weren't smokers. One of them starts to smoke. The other person doesn't like it. And they say, look, I don't want to be with the smoker. When we got together, you didn't smoke. Then it's like, and if you love that someone, you're in that loving relationship, I think that is the right situation where it's like a counseling relationship. Like you counsel one another through your problems or issues and things like that. And that's why I think like marriage, like the sanctity of marriage, say, because if you tie yourself to another person and then you start doing something that that person doesn't like, maybe that thing you're doing isn't a good thing and you need to stop it. But if you was going around on your own, you wouldn't notice.
You wouldn't get the reflection.
Yeah, because you need someone to keep you accountable to your higher side of yourself. Like, I see a higher potential in you.
But then that's their perception of what's higher potential for you. But then again,
like if I'm just going to go and start doing crack cocaine, it's like maybe that's like at the end of the day, there's subjective and objective potential. You know, it's like that's not really ever going to be like, oh, what if my highest potential is to be a heroin addict? Like, maybe that's my path. Leave me to it. It's like, no. You know,
Good to try.
try.
No, but I think, you know what? That if it is someone's part, I mean, no, it's not linear. Like, you know, we don't know what is someone's path. I believe astrology can give good indications what some people may be going through at particular times in their life. And I'm very interested in that, and I study that a lot. And it's so interesting how things synchronize and with this happens, the constellation stars. But so far as like what you're talking about, Chris, is your interpretation of what someone's path should be based on your own subjective path that you've set for yourself. For example, if someone does become an addict, you may be concerned and say, look, I am concerned that, like, you know, your health is deteriorating and it's taking a toll on you. And if there is that dialogue, but they're like, yeah, I do need help, you know, because there are moments when I'm like, I do need help, can you help me? I guess it's a contentious issue because sometimes we can say, like, some really people who are in like positions where they inspire other people, they've been through deep trauma themselves to get to a point where they're able to appreciate life and that depth of life and love that little bit more. I don't know, it's not to say that everyone needs to do that, but you know, it's almost like being able to understand and empathize by having been in that scenario. And if you don't allow someone to go through that, as in just physically not allow them to, then they will never get to that piece of wisdom. However, if you support them through that process, then that maybe more of a loving relationship. One last point, well, not one this matters, like going back to what you said about love as a feeling. It's interesting you should say that because apparently there is a word, it begins with L, it's not love, which describes the initial tango of emotions which you experience when you meet someone and you fall in love, right? Like, you know, you feel it in your stomach, you know it in your heart, you can't wait to see them, you might get palpitations, whatever, like, you know, it's that feeling, it's that honeymoon period that you're all familiar with. But that is a period, and if there isn't real love, and I didn't quite get into that part of the discussion with them, but if there isn't real love after that period, then it's a case of, oh, you know, you're not compatible, you know, but you'll always get that feeling initially of attraction, of allure, of there's a possibility. But the real love component, which sustains a relationship through thick and thin, through life and death, is something different than those emotions that we may be really familiar with.
Yeah.
So what is that? Is it loyalty? Familiarity?
Well,
What
those
is it?
first feelings, I think, are like not obsession, like it's like infatuation. You're infatuated by someone. You love everything about them, and you can't see anything wrong with them either. Like, your mind just doesn't let you. You're like, oh, this person's amazing, and then a month in, the honeymoon period starts to end, and I think people, because there's a level of commitment as well. It's not. It's like go on.
It's all the expectations that we have built up of what the other person could be, and then the honeymoon period kind of dies out when both realize that they're human.
yeah. So that's like they're judging each other too much, because there has to be a balance, right? Like, if you just in a relationship and all you do is judge and not accept, then it's going to be horrible, you know. But and I think like acceptance as far as love goes is obviously a lot further. But I was like, not long ago, I was thinking that I had this idea in my head that love is non-judgment, to accept someone completely for who they are. But then I more recently thought, well, it's also not, because you kind of have, like, as a parent, or, you know, a brother, or whatever, you know.
But wait, because there's a phrase unconditional love, right? Which means love without condition. So if, for example, your partner, your child, you know, committed something that you thought was wrong or whatever, would that mean that's now a condition of you can't love them? Like, would you stop loving them?
That was the third part, forgiveness. It's like acceptance, judgment, and forgiveness. I accept you completely for who you are, but I kind of don't as well, because I'm going to judge you a little bit. But when you mess up, I'm going to forgive you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How I see this is like we came here in this density to experience physicality, and then how I see it is we're transitioning into the density or the collective version of reality where we're going to master love instead of mastering physicality, which is what we're doing now. We're moving into mastering love, so we're heightening up, and we're all of us, even right now, watching this as well. Hi everyone. We're on this path to master love. So yeah, like conditional love is what we've been so used to, and in a way, like I agree, like in physicality, if you were completely unconditionally loving all the time, you would end up dead. But then no, that's not true actually. No, you wouldn't. You would, if you were completely, no, there has to be boundaries.
But there's also, yeah, like you can love someone that's abusive to you. So that's like, love does have those boundaries, but you can also judge that person. Like, I hate this person for what they're doing to me, but I love them. Like, and you are judging them. I mean, if you just accepted them in their entirety for who they were, it's like, all right, just keep beating me up.
But this is coming back to the whole point of this topic. What's about self-love, right? Because
yeah, that's what we should be talking about.
The way you envision yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you love yourself, you emanate that out into the universe. So whatever you're manifesting, because you're the co-creator of the universe, and you may not be conscious of it or not. You know, some people might say, I'm not manifesting anything at the moment. Yes, you are, because you have a certain viewpoint of who you are. You have a certain maybe boundaries and parameters that you set for yourself. And you may have, as we discussed in the presentation, a certain inner dialogue which reinforces certain beliefs that you may have about self. Now, you may be completely different in relation to other people. You might wear different masks, but at your core, the way you treat yourself is vibrating out into the world. So in a sense, when you say you could love someone, but they're abusive to you, well, really, that might suggest that, one, you need to leave that person. Really, you do, because that relationship is not good for you. But why are you still with that person? Is it because of issues related to self-worth, self-valuing, self-love? Do you not feel that you'll be able to find someone else? Do you feel that you owe it to this person? Do you feel that this person is the only one that will accept you? What is it about this person that you stay with them for? You know, do they say to you on a daily basis, you know, you're lucky that I'm with you, and all that kind of shit, right? Because, sorry for the expletive, but if they do tell you that and you believe it, then really, are you loving them or are you hostage to them? Because if you love yourself, you want better for yourself. You deserve to be better. If you're in an abusive relationship, get out of that relationship. You are worth more than that person. So with the whole judgment thing, I believe there is no judge, but you should be conscious of how you value yourself, both externally and internally, in terms of the narrative that you tell yourself, the dialogue, the life path that you envision. It's what you're co-creating. So, you know, be very careful where you bring your attention, because that's where the universe will take you, thinking that's where you want to go. And that's why there's cycles of abuse in relationships.
That's the thing as well. It's like in regards to unconditional love inside of a relationship, an intimate relationship or any relationship. It's like, say you're in that abusive relationship, it's like the abuse is gonna like chip away at your own personal love levels, and then you're just not even going to be able to have unconditional love for anyone else because you haven't got it within yourself, because it's been so battered down with lack.
One thing I would say, because self-love, I think, is also tied to the process and the journey and the discovery of knowing thyself. And that is a beautiful journey. However, I'd like to say to everyone that it's not a linear journey. It's not A to B and it's a constant every year is up. You go through trials and challenges because it causes you growth. But when you know that you are loved by the universe, that you are worthy, that you are good enough, that you are capable, that every challenge that's given to you, you're strong enough to overcome, and to have that courage to be able to persevere. You come to a position where knowing thyself and loving thyself, and then you can start to really develop those relationships with other people. Because I like to say to people, like, I would say for the first part of my life, I knew a lot of people. I knew how to flirt. I enjoyed flirting an awful lot. And I enjoyed the kind of dance, that initial kind of meeting someone, etc., etc. But I never let anyone get too close. Pushed them all away, whether I was conscious of it or not. And it was because I saw everything in that particular way. I wasn't able to love myself, or at least I wasn't aware of it, but I wasn't fully loving myself. So how could I love someone else? How could I love someone else fully when I don't even know myself fully? I can't give myself to someone else when I don't know what it is there is to give. There's only so much that the shell you could construct. And if you really want to give all of you, that song by John Mayer, I think it's John Mayer, beautiful song. Like, loving all of you. I love all of you. And I give all of me to you. But what does that look like, right? If I said to you, Zach, what does that mean to you to love someone with all of your being? What does that mean to you?
It means I can love them to the capacity to which I love myself. And the whole of my being would be like, that would entail like devotion and commitment, responsibility. That's it.
I like that. Love someone up to the capacity that you love yourself. It's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of people do think that they can love, like they have a lot of love for other people. They think, but they don't love themselves. But I think to truly be present in a relationship and bring your whole self to a relationship, you need to have that love for yourself. Which is what this is about. So it's like, if you can accept yourself for who you are and love yourself, and that's what part of love is accepting yourself. And once you can accept yourself, you can feel, so you start to feel that feeling of love, but then it's like, okay, but then that's the rest of my description of love. But that acceptance of who you are, like to be able to take that into a relationship and say, this is who I am, and I'm going to bring all of me to you, and I'm comfortable with me. So, and then it gives you a huge sense of confidence as well, because if you're confident, like if you're comfortable with yourself and you completely accept yourself, you can walk into a relationship with someone, and if you say, this is me, this is how I am, and I love me. So, like, if you don't love me, then that's fine. Someone out there will.
That's beautiful. And actually, this came to me when we're talking about boundaries, because you talk about unconditional love, Zach, and how it's important to create boundaries. Self-love gives you that capacity to set boundaries. Why? Because you'll love yourself just as much as you love other people. So when you know that you're giving too much and you're depleting your own energy or your own sustenance, etc., then you're not loving yourself, right? If you go without and you neglect self, which can often happen when people give, you may think it's a very selfless, humble way of existence and being very one with the universe. But actually, it's not actually respecting the laws of self. Self-love. If you love yourself, then you have the capacity to love others. And in doing so, you have to create boundaries. This is what I need. This is what I can share. This is time for myself. This is time for other people. Create boundaries as a concept of self-love. Do not see it as a way of being selfish, because it's not. It's being self-loving.
The thing is, though, in a way, in a very strange way, it's also an act of self-love to attempt to be more loving towards others than it is to self. Because the reason why we do that is because not only are we seeking validation in others, we're also, for example, we're in an intimate relationship, and we might be like, oh, I want to give so much of myself to this other person, but then that creates this codependency where we're expecting their commitment in return. So it's like, oh, I'll give all my power away to you. I'll do everything for you because I don't want to lose you, because that's going to hurt me.
See, so what does it say about you? What does it say about you? Because you have this complex of fear of not being worthy enough to be in a relationship and losing that person, right? Yeah. So it's a manifestation within the relationship. Whereas if you was like, I love myself, I know myself, and like Chris was saying, I'm comfortable with my skin and who I am, then you don't have to fear. Like, you won't find someone else. You just, if that person isn't right for you, then both of you will know. And there's no like, I need to cling to you. I need to give my power to you, because it's your power, babe, to shine to other people, and you will find that person who will value that. And this is what I say it is, right? Imagine you're a lantern. Okay, everyone's light is on in the lantern, but not everyone's shutter is open. Shine your light, allow it to shine, so that other people in the dark can see your lantern, and they can find each other.
That's nice.
It's just that shutter hurts yeah, the shutter is the pain, isn't it? The shutter is the blocked emotion, the trapped emotion that makes us afraid of losing a person, because we know how much it hurts, because we've had it happen before.
The shutter is your defense, because you feel vulnerable. Expand into feeling vulnerable. Feel vulnerable. Open the shutter, let yourself feel vulnerable, because at least you're going to learn, challenge, growth. You know, it's if you keep the shutter closed and you never allow yourself to grow, or that what if moment, right? What if you get right to the end of your life, or even late on in your life, and you don't find that one? You hadn't found that one yet, right? And I don't want anyone to think to themselves, what if I just allowed myself to be vulnerable? And this is something I'm working on as well, so it's not like it's so easy. What if I allowed myself to be vulnerable? What if? What would have happened? Who would I have met? Where would we have gone? What would my life look like now? What if? Don't have what ifs. If you think you're going to have a what if at the end of it, bloody well do it, because there's no going back in time. Well, at least in our current state.
It's always the what ifs on the deathbed, I hear.
Yeah, what if you didn't step out the door and, with a backpack? What if you didn't say to someone, I love you? What if you didn't say, would you marry me? What if you didn't say, like, would you move in with it? What if?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is the thing, right? So the whole objective, what we spoke about last week and what the topic is today, how to love yourself into a better relationship. Another way of approaching this is saying, I'm going to bring so much love into myself that I don't even care if I'm in a relationship or not, because I'm happy in my own skin. And when you're happy in your own skin, and then for alignment, if you're looking for a relationship or not, in that kind of energy, you find an amazing person.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking for a relationship right now, Zach?
That's
and I asked not to be in the spot. I just reason. I asked
kind of like I'm on the market, but like I'm not actively really pushing. So like, yeah, I'm open to receive right now.
But yeah, that's it. Like what we mentioned last week as well. It's like when you're trying to achieve anything or attract anything into your life, then it's you need to detach yourself from the outcome of it, and accept that it's already happened in a way. Like just feel like you don't need it, because when you don't need it, it will just flow into you. And to be able to do that, like you want to bring in regards to relationship, which can be harder. Because it's like you want to feel loved, and like if you're just trying to attract money doesn't love you. It's just like, it's just money. It's just you can do things with it. But in a relationship, it's like you want this relationship. You see other people in relationship, and you think, oh, they look really happy together. I want what they have. So it's this. That's why it's so important to have that self-love and that self-acceptance, and hold that in with yourself. So when you have that, you love yourself so much that you aren't attached. Like you're not needing to have that external relationship where you can get that love.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Where I am right now is like, so just to finish off that, what I feel like after COVID and this whole lockdown situation, I've just been yearning, and I know it's the same for both of you as well. It's like I've just been yearning to just be around other people in person, just like a community, and just to be interacting with peers in that way. And if a relationship comes through that, then that would be amazing. So yeah, how about yourself, Mia? Like, how about in regards to that question?
So interestingly, again, going back to astrology, because I believe it's all synced, I am not actively looking for a relationship, because I feel like I'm not ready, and it's because I don't feel I know myself enough fully yet to be able to give that, to fully engage in a way that I'd want to with another person. However, there is a caveat to that. I believe that there's also a layer of being open and allowing myself to experience at the same token. I've had some, the question I like to ask is, we've all known it, right? In the past, you meet loads of people at clubs, at bars, dating apps, etc. You go for dinner dates, whatever. You meet a lot of people, and there might be some attraction. You like the picture, you like the way they look, you like the way they smell, whatever. There's an attraction. But there's very few moments, and it has happened, and I'm sure it has happened for both of you, and presumably for you, Chris, as well, having married the person, where you just know there is something, and you just know that you want to get to know them, or you know that there's going to be something that is going to come from this moment in time that you met. And they call it love at first sight. But I experienced it on a way crazy level. I was in a foreign country one time, and I met a chakra healer, and I felt him before I saw him. As in, when you can see when someone's looking at you, without knowing. But the presence I felt, it was like two bubbles. I felt my aura and I felt his aura, and we just connected. And shortly after that, I returned back to the UK, and I was in a crystal shop, and I bumped the person who was behind the till. I don't know what it was, but we had the same feeling, the aura joining together, and it was intense. It was magical. And I keep thinking back to that moment because she didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And we both wanted to enjoy that feeling. But it was a case of I just needed to extract myself from the space that I didn't know what to do. But when I think back on it periodically throughout the years, and I'm like, is that past life connection? As in, did I know you in a previous life? And now here we are again, our nexus points of energies coming together in this lifetime, or I don't know what it is. Are you the one? And I just don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. So when I meet lots of people, I may find someone attractive, but I've never felt that kind of, there's something really intense about you. You're not the one. Because I think sometimes people have this mindset, they go through life, they're like, oh, I'm 30, late 30s now, time's ticking, etc. I'm just going to settle. He's good enough. She's good enough, or whatever. We can have family, we can be fine, etc. But what does your heart say? I can love this person, but are they my soul journeying partner? Are you the person that I've been yearning from across the cosmos for?
Yeah, that's the same for me. It's like, after what I've been through in the past 3 years in regards to relationships, trigger fest country, I think many people have, or at least many people have been triggered a lot. I am not settling straight away. Like I am picky now. Like I'm being cautious, being deliberate. So yeah, totally agree. Totally get where you're coming from as well. It's a good way to be. And again, it comes into like self-love as well. Like, what do you want in a relationship? What do you want to experience? What do you want to feel like? And yeah, I'm clear on that now, pretty much.
Try and see who that person looks like in your mind's eye. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you see that person? Like, I mean, you have to explain them on live on air, like what they look like. Like, maybe when it's from is like, hey, that's me. Like,
yeah. Well, I was going to mention the like knowing yourself before you get into a relationship. Like, I can totally relate to that, because I felt like, especially in the past year, I really, really got to know myself, because it's something about a romantic relationship that kind of, you see things you never saw before, and that was the case for me. And yeah, I've learned a lot about myself from the past 3 years as well. It was painful, but it was worth it. There was a lot of growth. So, but yeah, the person, I can't say. Not right now. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is, I don't know. It's different with like people, like we talk about manifestation, we talk about goals. It's like, how specific do you want to be with regards to this, because the universe knows what you want. If you say, I want to be happy, the universe is going to give you things to make you happy. If you say, I want a car, because you think it's going to make you happy, the universe is going to give you the car, and you might not make you happy. The universe is a lot smarter than us. The universe knows everything.
Because it's your higher self guiding you. It's your higher self. And essentially, it's a case of you needed to get that car in order to realize what actually has a lot of value to you in your life. Is it a car? Is it, your neighbor? Whatever. It may surprise you.
Or maybe you needed the car to realize that that's not the way you should manifest things.
It's
because it's just life is a beautiful adventure that, like, and if you just can put out those positive emotions, like, I just want to feel secure, I want to feel loved, I want to feel in awe, I want to feel excited, and you're gonna, like, in the next couple of weeks, you're gonna have those situations, and it's like you don't know what's coming, and you just have them. It's like, wow, I want to have the best day of my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Trust me, a couple of weeks down the line, you're going to have the best day of your life.
Yeah.
And why is that not today, Chris? Why is that not today?
Because I've had better days. I'm not lying to you. Because if I was in a mindset where I woke up and I thought, wow, life, this is amazing. Like,
yeah,
even if it's horrible. But today I wasn't like that. So I've had better days. And that's okay. And maybe when you set that intention, I'm going to have the best day of my life, all you do is nothing. Exactly this. It's just no different to any other day, but your mindset is different. But when you intend for something to happen, it will happen.
Okay, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a connected tangent. So loving yourself into a better relationship, we're talking about romantic relationships. I like to talk about
anything. It could be any relationship, yeah.
Yeah, I like to talk about friendships because I came across a post on Twitter the other day, which I found was really destructive for both men and women, and humanity as a whole. It was saying there's a lot of these like masculine Twitter channels about how to be a man, etc. And a lot of people read them. They got a lot of followers. And it was saying, men can't cry in front of their family, in front of their friends. Men shouldn't show emotion, etc., etc. Be strong for them. Don't show your weakness. And I was like, hold on a minute, what the fuck? Like, you need, like, why is it just women that are able to express themselves? Why is it just women that can confide and show emotion to friends and family and get support? Because that's what it is, support, right? So I'm wondering, with you two, like, would you say you love each other in respect of like brotherhood or like friendship? Like, what is that in the context of friendship and in terms of masculinity? What does that look like for you? Loving thy brother?
Oh, no. no, we don't. There's no here.
No.
Oh no.
It's all up there. It's all up there.
No, we got loads of bromance. Definitely.
Yeah. We got a lot of protein going on.
I think you're a man if you can show your feelings, not be ashamed. Like a true, like you're really strong. Not even a man, you know, like anyone really that can show their feelings and not be ashamed to do that. Then you're really strong. And men need to be able to do that more. Men hide their feelings way too much. You know, I've got an immense amount of love for Zach. It's just been, yeah. No words.
We're getting along really well. Like we were working together, like remotely, like we are now, and like yeah, we're just doing really well. And it was funny, like you had your personality test come up, and it was like you're a diplomat. And I was like, that's interesting because I'm a diplomat. So like we bounce off each other really well, and I think that we've got this kind of like this Aryan drive, and I've got this kind of like OCD complex. So it's good. It works. We work well together, and yeah, I've got a lot of love, mutual, like kind. Yeah.
And are there conditions to this love,
No.
Chris?
No, not the love we like that I would share as a friend. Definitely not. Not to the love. No, definitely not. There are conditions to a relationship, though.
No,
Yeah.
but what I mean is that if, for example, Zach started to do something which you thought was destructive for him, would you show love to him and try and say like, I think this is a path of the wrong path for you, or like how does that love show itself, or do you simply just treat him differently?
So you're saying I should judge him, right?
No, support him. I'm trying to make the distinction.
Well, judgment, same word, right? Because I have to judge his direction as something that's not right. Like it's judgment. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's just funny.
It ties in.
Yeah,
love,
I would because we have a deep relationship. I would feel like I am in a place to do that for Zach or a close friend or a family member. You know, because we know each other. I'm not just gonna like that.
When is that line created? Because would you do that, for example, with someone you just met, you get on with them really well? Would you necessarily do that? This is what I'm really fascinated by, right? When does that love become that form of love, and when it's just, when does that friendship turn into, what are the conditions of that, is what I'm going to say. How do we quantify that? Because let's say you've known Zach for a week. Would you do that? Maybe not. But you've known Zach for the amount of time that you have known him. Why does that come to be?
It's a balance, isn't it? Like friends that have gone down a path that I'm like, come on, man, like this isn't the best. But like you can't, like how much judgment can you give someone? You can say this isn't like or guidance, to like, and it's like, well, they're their own person still. You can't just go and handcuff someone and be like, you come with me. I mean, maybe you could. Maybe that would be the right way to do something. But I feel like I wouldn't be comfortable doing that with Zach. But my wife, if she was like doing something completely like off the scale ridiculous, then I probably would be like, right, no, I'm just literally going to handcuff you and take you home. So you can't like destroy yourself. And that's what rehab is, right? It's like you need to be somewhere you can't destroy yourself anymore. There needs to be boundaries.
That's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. And one last tangent, if you may indulge me, and both of you. Starting with you, Chris. Who do you look up to? Just one person. Who do you look up to?
I have a few people that over the years I've like YouTube mentors, you call them, right? Because like you watch all the videos on YouTube and but they don't know you, but you're like, oh man, I love this guy. Absolute legend. Learned so much. And I have a few. One person, I would
Wow.
say at the moment, Jordan Peterson, just because I've been so in depth into all of his videos and his work at the moment. But another guy is Gary Null, who's much more I wouldn't say progressive, more. No, do you know what? They're both just
Okay.
not political. Not like they're not swayed by their political beliefs. They're both progressive. So that's why, and you know why both of these people, they believe in the betterment of self for the whole of society. Like once you have your life to a certain place, it's like now go and help others.
And Zach, who do you look up to? One person.
Yeah, one person. Well, it's many. There's many different people that I look up to, and
You don't have to say.
they all have their own value. But one person would be probably like the one mentor that I probably learned the most from and watched the most over the past 5-6 years, which would be Brad Johnson, who channels Dronus of Sirius.
Interesting. Do you know who
What
I'm
about you, Mia? Mia, do you have a
Yeah,
someone who
I
you
do.
look up to and,
Yeah.
and a role model?
Yeah,
Who's
one
that?
person, right? One person.
Mhm.
Can you guess who that is?
Yourself?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? But who? And the highest ideal of yourself, right?
Who do I look up to? I look up to myself. I look
Right.
up to
Yourself in this moment, or yourself, potential self.
Yeah. Like so. For example, right? You like both of you mentioned external people, Jordan Peterson, and if anyone watching, Jordan Peterson was the expert in last week's video. So if you don't know who he is, he's in the presentation last week, and it is a good talk actually. But you're looking to this person for wisdom, for guidance, for understanding, for conceptualization, for perception, right? It's that phrase that we keep going back to. It's like, you know, it's you can't find the answers. If you can't find the answers within, you won't find it externally. The greatest amounts of wisdom is within the universe. Where is the universe? Within each and every one of us. If you journey within, you will find the answers that you seek. So who do I look up to? I look up to me. You know, this is what you see is a mirror, right? What Chris sees and what Zach sees, you see two different things. I know you see two different things. And it's just, you know, that's perception. So find your alignment. What is true for you? What is wisdom for you? What is perception for you? Where do you need to go? Jordan Peterson can't tell you that, Chris. And Brad Johnson can't tell you that, Zach. Only you can tell you where you need to go in this life. How are you going to do it? Or why are you going to do it? And that's it.
Told me some pretty good stuff. You're right.
Yeah. I believe, yeah, the greatest mentor is within all of ourselves. But it's like, if you've seen the movie Inception, yeah? Came out like ages ago now.
Yeah,
where
great.
they have to implant an idea in someone's mind, and they go through dreams to do it. And they have to go so deep into someone's mind to make them think that they came up with the idea themselves. And so if you're watching someone that you're inspired by, or you look up to, or you put them on a pedestal. It's like the ideal. There's an ideal there, you know. In maybe not in every life, you know. It's like, look at, you know, all these rich people. There's the wealthiest people in the world. There's plenty of areas of their life where things aren't going so well. Look at their relationships and stuff. But if I'm watching someone speak, they could trigger an idea in my mind of how I would like to be.
Here's a quintessential question, right? You look up to Jordan Peterson. If you met Jordan Peterson, do you think he will look up to you? First answer that comes into your brain. Hi, I'm Chris. Hi, I'm Jordan. Let's have a chat. Do you think he's going to look up to you?
Maybe. I'd say
It's a
maybe.
yes or no question.
Probably not.
And that's it.
But
That's the
no,
core of
no,
it.
wait. No, because that's why I'm looking up to him, because he is higher up in a hierarchy.
But can't you give a value, mutual exchange? Jordan might know a lot about some subjects, right? Jordan speaks an awful lot, and this is no offense if Jordan happens to be watching. All power to you, but he's but you don't. You have something of value, Chris, right? You have something of value. It's not a one-way exchange where it's like, oh, Jordan, give me the answers, right? You are part of the universe. You have value to give to people. This very discussion
Of course.
is giving value to people. But it's all
Nia, would you go to someone for advice that didn't have what you wanted?
I would go to them for advice, but I know that it's not a case, it's of equals. Because we're equal in this world. We're humans. If you put them on
say you're in a relationship and you need some advice about it, and you have two role model couples, right? One of them, like their relationship terrible, they're fighting, they're abusive to one another, they're on the brink of disaster. The other couple, amazing relationship. You know, they love each other so much, and they've worked through so much together, and they've made it work. Which ones do you go to for advice? Which ones do you look up to?
Okay, I'll go to both of them because you can learn from anyone in any situation. You will learn from both of them.
Which ones will you model yourself on?
I wouldn't model myself on any of them. I would be the observer, and I'll take what I need to know for my own discernment. But this is what I'm coming from, Chris, right? They may be able to show me what their version of idyllic relationship is, and that might be very interesting to me. Yeah, there's no doubt about it, right? But it's not to say that I can't contribute in some way. And this is what I meant, and maybe I should have clarified the question. I'm not saying you talk back to Jordan with the exact same topic. What I'm saying is, Chris, you may be able to give something to him that he does not know about. You know, there's something like the life of Chris, the experience that you've had, that's valuable.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
you are valuable. Know your own worth. And that's also to do with self-love. And that's why I posed the question. Because often when you say it in your own words, you put them on a pedestal, it's almost like saying they've achieved more than you, they are better than you, you're less than, in a way, really. It's a case of lack. Whereas if you just literally met Nelson Mandela, if you met, let's say, someone that you really, really respect, right? And you may have this feeling of trepidation, but if you just see them as an equal and have a conversation, you'll be surprised at what they can learn from you. Because real wisdom is from the fact that you can learn from every single person and circumstance in this world if you just perceive it that way. So when they sit down and talk with you, you might be learning and they will be learning from you. It's symbiotic. We're all humans, we're all the universe. Know that you are valued, know that you are a part of this universe, and know that you are loved.
100%.
So you know what? I'm happy to sit down with you and Jordan, both of you. I wouldn't like, this is Jordan Peterson and this is Chris. No, I'd be like, this is Jordan Peterson and this is Chris. Sorry, I forgot your surname. That's not a reflection on you, Chris.
Obviously it is. Obviously he's more important than I am. You know his surname.
No, because I don't think you're going to talk me your surname. That's why.
No, it's true. It's true. I think but I think like if I was to like people that you said like like you put people on pedestal, but you kind of like when you look up to someone, you are putting them on a pedestal because you are like you're modeling yourself on them, and that's a great way. That's what kids do. That's how children learn to be adults. That's why little girls and little boys are like playing house, you know, like, oh, what are you doing? I'm having a tea party, because that's what adults do. They're modeling themselves on adults. You know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm washing the dishes. It's like, why are you playing washing the dishes for a start? It's not fun, but they're modeling themselves on adults. You know, that's what kids do. And it's a great, I know what you're saying 100%. Like there's so much wisdom and so much information that we can pull out from ourselves. But there's a great way to make your way through life is to model yourself on other people.
Doing that, Chris? Are you modeling yourself on Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, I'd say I would. I am, yeah.
So what does Chris look like? Am I speaking to Chris or am I speaking to Chris/Jordan?
What do you mean? Am I speaking to Mia's mum or Mia?
My mum did not shape me. She may have had, like, there may have been some. I did not do the dishes as a kid. I did not do tea parties as a kid. I was forced to do that to play with my little sister.
But you still model yourself, like you learn to walk because you see other people walking.
I don't know how I walk. Maybe like there's something that's scared. But you're right. You're right. It's not said there's external influences. What I'm saying is, right, I don't look at you, Chris, for example. It doesn't mean I don't respect you and I don't learn from you, but I don't model myself on you. In the same way that I don't open up a magazine and go, I want to look like that woman there and model myself on that. No. What I do want to model myself on is who I am. So everything I learn about myself, guess what? I'm going to be like, that resonates with me. That is now, that's me, right? I want to be me. I don't want to be me slash.
Yeah, but,
my mum, as you
no, but maybe that thing you've seen, that one part of that person you've seen in that person that you look up to has resonated with you. And say, I really like that thing about that person. And I'm going to try and be a bit more like that. I'm not going to be that person, like try and pretend to be them, which also is not a bad way to
but that's not unique to them, right? Like, you know, for example, you could look up to Mahatma Gandhi, for example, right? But you may resonate with the idea of compassionate, peaceful protest, right? So when you model yourself on that, you're not modeling yourself on Mahatma Gandhi. It's based on the kind of the emotion and the kind of way of being in that particular sphere. That's it. It's like, oh, actually, if I want to learn about compassionate love, or if I want to, let's say you want to learn about enlightenment or nirvana, you may look to the Buddha, right? But does it mean that there's a distinction here that I want to make? Do you want to live like Buddha, or do you want to resonate with the energies that Buddha was meditating on? Which is it? Because some people want to live like Buddha and they're living that way.
What's the difference?
Yeah, there is a difference, right? Because Buddha was a man, is a man. A man.
Yeah, so but when if I'm looking at Mahatma Gandhi and saying I'm modeling him because I'm modeling what he stood for, it's because I'm giving it a personality because I am a person, right? So it's easier to do that. If you just say model love, model compassion, it's like, how the hell do I do that?
No,
it's
but
like, well, look at this person who actually was modeling those things. You know?
But Mahatma Gandhi was like many things. He's a complex individual, just like we're all complex individuals. So what I'm saying, don't base yourself on another complex individual's biosphere. You know, you can learn from them by all means. But for me, modeling means like, I'm not good enough. I'm going to upgrade myself to the version of self that should be, which is Mahatma Gandhi or Jordan Peterson. Whereas I say, learn from these individuals. Take what wisdom fits right for you and learn from every single being and be the best version of yourself. Know that you are wise. Know that you are part of the universe. Buddha was a great man, but Buddha also didn't have sex and didn't do this and that and that. And maybe that's not right for you. Maybe your embodiment of that love is to share that love in the tantric way. Right, because there are a lot of
but I'm not saying that once you look up to someone, you have to literally model every area of life. Because of course not. You might look at Jeff Bezos, right, and be like, I want that much money. That's amazing. But maybe you don't want to go through a divorce. Of course, like I'm just gonna. You don't look at someone.
That lose you money.
I wouldn't look at someone and say, I'm modeling myself on Jeff Bezos. I'm gonna do everything he did. You know, it's like, oh, first of all, he's already got rid of his wife, so I'm gonna get rid of mine. As well, may as well get ahead of the curve because she's going to be gone later anyway.
But it also
when you're modeling yourself on someone, you're not modeling yourself. There might be things about that person you don't even like, but there might be things that you love about someone. Be like, wow, that's incredible that a person can do that. And like, oh, how did he do that? Because like maybe you don't know a way. So like if you're like, oh, that's how he did it, then you can follow in his footsteps. Nothing wrong with that. That's like it's the phrase of we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Of course we are, you know, because all the work that has been done by predecessing generations have led us up to the point of all this technology and all this knowledge and all this wisdom we have now. You know, we have to continue. If we were just babies and we burned everything, got rid of everything, we'd live like cavemen again.
But that's the thing, Chris. It's like, use your own discernment. I heard a wonderful phrase the other day, and I want to share it again. I may have shared it with you already. It's that the only voices, the only thing that's important, I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's something like this. The first and last voice should be your own. Everything in between is just what helps you to get to that point. So you have the final say. The first and the final say should be your own.
Yeah,
You are guiding compass. So what I'm saying effectively is I want you to see that you have value, equal value to some of the idols that you have. That's all I want, because that is a part of self-love, in my opinion.
Well, that's what Jordan, that expert segment we had last week was the whole thing Jordan Peterson was talking about as well, about that fact that you look at the world and it doesn't look very equal. It doesn't, from a three-dimensional perspective, from a materialistic perspective. It's like, well, how come that person's got food and that person doesn't? That's not equality.
Have you researched a lot more about his
But the idea is that he was saying is that we do all have an inherent value that is equal, and we deserve to be treated that way. And that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. But like, if someone's an Olympic athlete, and I'm not, and I'm going to him like, oh no, mate, you should try it like this instead. It's like yeah, well, but I have inherent value. Like I have wisdom too. I know what I'm talking about.
I've learned from Jordan.
No, you're not an Olympic athlete.
No, but the thing is, I've learned from Jordan Peterson, right? But not in the same way that you have. And the reason being is you see him as somebody you look up to. But I've learned something from him. And that's also because of his other views that he shared, and you'll find them all over the internet in regards to different matters, which is not very egalitarian at all, really. And so, you know, I would speak with him.
Yeah, it's a whole nother discussion. Yeah, but it's a whole nother discussion. I know what you're saying, 100%. And it doesn't. It's a whole nother discussion. But that's it, isn't it? It's like we all are equal and we all have inherent value. It's just all I'm saying. Like we're debating the same thing. You know, because it's like you want to make yourself into your own person, of course, but you can do that by modeling different parts of different people.
Here's one way of looking at it, right? You, me, and Zach are on stage in front of 1,000 people, right? I would presume you would consider us all equals because we're all part of this collective, right? You know, you wouldn't be like, oh, you're the focus, or I am, or Zach is. We are all equal on stage. We are all presenting to these 1,000 people.
It depends if someone was doing a presentation, that person is like the most important person on the stage at that moment.
But I mean, in terms of value, I mean, like, I'm not a critically acclaimed author. I haven't been on television that I know of, you know, etc. Right? We're all, you know, in terms of what we may construe to be fame or whatever, right? I'm just saying that we're all in a similar position, maybe whatever, right? However, if you then remove me and Zach, and now you're sitting on stage with Mr. Jordan and let's say another individual that you look up to, how do you feel? That is what I want you to conceptualize. How would you now feel? It's the same audience, same topic, but now you've got two of your idols next to you instead of me and Zach. Do you feel differently? Do you feel intimidated? Do you feel less than? You're speaking about the same topic, by the way. Yeah,
I would say I feel inspired. Like more like, because it's like, wow, like I'm gonna, like, if I'm doing I'm public speaking, you know, and then Jesus descends from the sky, I'm gonna shut up. I'm like, let him have his say. You know, he's the master teacher. So like, I'm off. I'm like, yeah, we're equals on some levels, man, but you're literally like, you're Jesus. So I'm seeing that, like, which, yeah, like, and I 100% know what you're saying. But like, if it was Jordan Peterson on the stage, I'd rather hear him speak than let other people hear me.
It was about the same topic that you, me, and Zach were speaking. Let's say loving yourself, right? We was always going to say last minute, I can't come in, Zach can't come in. Guess what? I've drafted in Mr. Peterson, I've drafted in Mr. Johnson, and now it's Chris Johnson and the Dream Team or whatever, right? You might feel like, oh, I'm going to defer to this person, defer to this person. Why? Why do you think they know more than you? Why do you think their wisdom is?
No. Well, if you're talking about knowledge, they do know more than me. That's why.
Do they?
Well, first of all, Jordan Peterson's like 70, so like he's got a lot more life experience. He's definitely read a lot more books than me. He's like a doctor. He's got a doctorate, so he's actually been to university. I haven't even stepped foot in a university. And he's written like multi-million selling books, and he's done world tours speaking. So I'm like, okay, he is clearly more qualified, more able, and more.
No, and that's where I disagree with you, because I find you very interesting. I find that you have a lot of wisdom. You're a very good orator. You're a very good host. I see all of this in you, and you're not.
Maybe one day I'll have a multi-million selling book, and I'll have. But I think like there's a big part of wisdom is humility. So it's like, it's not like, for me, like me being like, no, we're equal, I want to have my say. It's like, that sounds a bit egotistic.
No, it's not.
And I'm just saying that's how I perceive it. It's like if Buddha was there, like everyone comes to go and see Buddha, I'm going to see Buddha as well. I'm in the queue, and when I get to the front of the queue, I just go and stand up next to Buddha and go, by the way, I've got some lessons too. So
yeah, and you know what Buddha would say? I want to hear them. That's what he would say. I want to hear you, Chris. Tell me, because he has that. He knows that you can learn from anyone. That's the whole story of the Siddhartha.
Yeah, if you were up on that stage and that energy doing that, then you would be up on that stage for a reason. So yeah, I'd want to hear what you have to say as well.
Yeah, I would put up my hand and go, Buddha, shh. One moment. I want to hear from Chris, and he'd be like, good point, Chris.
Man, talk.
Have you not heard like the idea that the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Yeah.
And it's the idiots that think they know everything.
Yeah.
All the time.
Which is why
like those people that don't know everything, they think they know everything. They're like, oh yeah, chat all the time. It's the wise, knowledgeable people. They're not chattering all the time. If people come to see them speak, they will talk, but they're not going to, because it's like casting, what do they call it? Casting pearls on the swine or something, like, yeah, it's like
keeping your powder dry is another one. It's not really appropriate for that, but
no, I like that. I do like that. Yeah, I like that phrase, especially when it comes to speaking.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Then again, really ego, though, isn't it? It's like that's ego. It's like I'm going to block myself off, like so I don't look stupid, for example. But then it's that person in the room who loves asking questions and not afraid of looking stupid. Like I like to be that person sometimes, and I love people who do that as well.
Yes, and that's the thing, right? Sorry, carry on, Zach.
Carry on. Yeah, carry on.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was going to say, like, when we talk about the law of attraction, right? We spoke about the avatar. Well, I spoke about the avatar, and you playing a character. If you're on stage and you got two people that you admire and people you can learn from, there's a crowd in front of you, how are you going to play that moment? Are you going to be like, diminish, squash, let them speak? We are all very, very valued, loved beings in this world. And through my own life experiences, I've had, I'm immensely grateful to come across people who have, I guess in a materialistic sense, have done very well, or, maybe not so, but they've all been to share wisdom. And I hope that I've been able to give wisdom to them in turn. It's a relationship. And again, it comes back to what we're talking about, better relationship. You have to see yourself as an equal in that relationship. And that's in love, that's in friendship, and that's with Jordan Peterson when you meet him.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you tied that back in. That was beautifully done. But if I have the chance to meet Jordan Peterson or Gary Null or Bob Proctor or like I'd love to have met Jim Rohn, man, but he's dead, sadly.
Even
I'm
though
not going to be there like talking, because I'm like, I've realized I'm there because I want to learn. I want to learn, you know.
Yeah.
So and I'm at a stage now in my life where learning is probably the one thing I should be doing. Like the top priority is learning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm early life, you know, so later in life, I know a lot.
When you
You know?
approach Jordan Peterson in person, like when you approach him and you're in this energy of like, it's Jordan Peterson. Wow, I got starstruck like crazy right now because I'm with Jordan Peterson. Like, yeah, of course you're going to go from answer mode into question mode because you see the value that he can bring through that conversation. But then again, I know in your case, you would also meet him as an equal in terms of like, you wouldn't like shut down like, like you know, you'd have a good conversation.
Yeah, I would expect him, if if he asked me a question, I would answer it, and if I asked him a question, I would expect him to answer it. You know, that's like the equality there, like that. Yeah, we're going to treat each other in this discussion right now as equals, like, but I'm actually, I want, if I went away and I just did all the speaking, I'd be like, oh,
will you change any
all I did was shared what I already knew, and I missed my chance to learn.
Will you compromise a part of you in that exchange? That's all I'm asking you.
Definitely not. No. I would never do that.
That's fine. As long as if you feel that the intrinsic value of that meeting is for you to ask questions and for him to answer them, then that's authentic too. Then that's fine. But the context of this was like, you are there to co-present a topic to an audience, and if you let him do all the talking, if that's right for you, that's right for you. But if you're feeling, if there's even a slight feeling that you need to be quiet, not share because this man knows better, that's what I want to delve into. That's all I'm asking.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. If we were there as equals, like, and
because you are,
then but we're on so many levels. There's not equal.
Well, you're both humans.
We're both humans, yeah. Like our souls are equal. We have inherent value as human beings. But he can sell out a stadium, and I can't. That's a different level of value.
Is that what you want?
Maybe, I don't know. I'd love to be a speaker. Like, I think speaking appeals to me more than coaching, because I love listening to speakers. And I think I just. Sometimes you hear a speech and you're just like, wow, that blew me away. And captivating. Someone can talk in a captivating way where your attention's not like going over here and over there. Like, I can't listen to audiobooks unless it's read by the author, because otherwise they're just a monotone. They're like, but when the author reads it, they're reading it as if they were they wrote it. They know what they mean. So they say it in a much more captivating way, and that's why podcasts are so much better anyway, because when you're having a conversation, your tonality goes up and down. The speed of the conversation fluctuates so much, and it's so easy to stay on top of it. But if you listen to an audiobook, a lot of the time it's just like this monotone narrator. It's like, your mind just wanders off. But I'd love to
I think you'd be
I'd love to be able to speak in that way. That'd be cool.
You'd be really good at it. You'd be really good at it. I think you just need to experience it. You need to immerse yourself into it, which again comes back to the lantern concept. You need to, it's one thing, like idealization. I need to learn, be in this cocoon stage, and then I'll emerge like a great butterfly and show myself, and the world will see what a great butterfly that I am. You are already the butterfly. The caterpillar is always the butterfly. Just looks different, right? And so what I'm saying to you is that, like, I would love to see you interview Jordan Peterson. In fact, I'd love to co-interview with you to interview Jordan Peterson, because I think you do a fucking great job. And if I feel that you inhabited the way, I'll ask you a load of fucking questions. Because I'll be like, I want to hear from Chris on this subject.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the things I say, I've got from most of the things. Look, at the end of the day, if I haven't read anything or listened to anything, I wouldn't know anything.
Pretty much true.
Pretty much most things. There's only a few ideas I've come up with myself. Like, that links with that, and it kind of makes this new idea.
But then that's twisted that you share.
but takes time to do that. And maybe by the time I'm 70, I'll have 100 of those ideas.
I think every discussion that we have, us three, and in our collective, I believe that we come up with new ideas, we have new perspectives. It's refreshing, and it's why I value this collective that much. So, you are co-creating with us. It's part of an integral process. I don't know. I just find it really interesting how we navigate through life thinking we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. When are you going to be there? When are you going to be the speaker on stage? If it's really what you want, Chris, to be on stage and interviewing big name people, well, there's really no reason why we can't make that happen.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like we talked about this whole series is like, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people. You should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday, or like maybe who, that's just the best way to do it. Like stop comparing yourself to others. But that's true. I think there's a different level of, because you also like comparing yourself to who you were yesterday is a great way to like see how far you've come, whether you've gone up or down in however you would perceive those things. But also to like in a personal development, any personal development program, they ask you to describe the future as you would desire it. And by doing that, you are creating a potential version of yourself in the future that you are then comparing yourself to. Maybe not comparing, but you actually are. Because you might not think of it as you might not be thinking that you're using that ideal self as a judge, but you actually are. You're judging yourself against that person, and then you're trying to change your behaviors or whatever it is to take you towards that place. So it's like you still want to accept who you are, right? That's self-love, is acceptance, but judgment, and then forgiveness. Like, I love me for who I am right now. I'm very grateful. There's always something to be grateful for. Yeah. And then you have a vision of the future, and you're judging yourself against it. Like, maybe I put on a bit of fat, around the middle, maybe, or maybe I lost too much weight. I'm getting really skinny. I haven't been eating enough, and I'm looking in the future a version of myself that I would rather be like, and I'm judging myself against that version of myself. And then I'm adapting my behaviors to get there. But then I slip off track. Say I do it for a month, and then for a week I don't do it. And then you're judging yourself, but then it's the forgiveness, because if you don't forgive yourself, then you're just gonna hate yourself. So it's that acceptance, judgment, and forgiveness again.
It's of like, imagine the concept of a cheerleader, right? Like, I will cheerlead for you and Zach and anyone in our collective. People that I know, I'll cheerlead. I'll support you, and I will big you up. Like I have been doing.
Give me an M. Give me an I. Give me an A.
I mean, what I'm saying is, like, I will always back you and big you up, because everyone in this universe is capable of so much potential. They just got to embody that. So I will always cheerlead for you. If anyone says, I can't do this, I'm like, why? If someone says that person can't do this, I'm like, that person probably well can do it. It's just a case of perception and removing those limitations. But this is what I'm going to title back to about self-love, is you also need to be the cheerleader for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't, even if you and Zach were there in the same capacity, which I believe you are, the real self-love is knowing that I don't need to rely on that I can rely on myself. I could be in the midst of the freaking jungle and, no water and food, and I'll be like, you know what? Who's got my back? I've got my back. I've got my back. And every single person who's watching this now and in the future, you have got your own back. Your higher self and the universe, you're co-creating together. And it's about the real power to be able, which is the root word of power. The real power is connecting to self and to realizing the infinite potential of self. And you don't need to seek validation. You don't need to seek answers externally, because you are all that you need. And you can learn from everything and anything. What you learn from Jordan Peterson, you may learn from the, let's say, watching a moth emerge from its cocoon. Right? You might go, wow, my mind's been blown by just that visual act of nature. in the same way that you may be from someone's words. It's perception, and it's being able to see and have the awareness of being able to see what is in front of you for you, for no one else, but for you. So my truth, my cheerleading for me is different for you and for Zach. It's always been you, babe. It's always been you.
Oh yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, we've been on some tangents here, but I think we tied that back nicely, because that's like, I guess, you know, if you're seeing someone as higher than you, in a relationship, like an intimate relationship, then that's not healthy, you know. But I think like as a like, do you look up to your parents? Like that's like, or okay, different question. As a parent, would you want your children to look up to you?
Yeah.
Would you want them to look at you and be like, I like the way that person is, and I wouldn't be offended if I ended up like that. Offended is not the right word, but I wouldn't be upset, you know, if I ended up like that. It's like, then in that situation, it's
the way I would like
a child does see their parent as higher than them, but but then a parent would quite often sacrifice their life for a child, you know, because it's a very funny thing. But also, it's like you don't want to be looking at someone as if they're higher in an unhealthy way, right?
Yeah, I think as a child, your mother and your father is always going to be the ones that provide you sustenance, a roof over your head. You know, it's up until the age of, you know, I'd say your teens, you are very much reliant on your parents. So there is that specific context to that relationship. As an adult child, when a child becomes an adult, and you're both adults, I would like my child to see me as a really good friend, a really close friend. And in fact, like, you know, my relations that I have with my own family at the moment, I would like that to be a very good friendship. But they are human after all. My sister is a human. I'm a human. You know, your rest of your extended family human. You may or may not.
Wait. You're human.
Sorry?
You're human.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Can you?
No, I'm just being an idiot. Don't worry.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
No.
You said my sister's human. I'm human.
Yeah, no,
I was just asking you if you were
we're
human.
all individuals, is what I'm saying. So, you know,
Yeah.
you may not connect in that sort of way, but I would like to be able to think that I could empower my kids to such an extent. They're like, you know what, she's all right.
I've seen my children as like peers, as my friends as well, which kind of comes with its own, like, in a way it can be traumatizing for a particular child that's aligned in a certain way. If this child is like, I want my parent to not treat me like a friend. So, but I feel that's naturally how I would be with my children. So that's going to create what it will create anyway. But
also a good friend would tell you the truth as well. You know, so it's like that. I think that a parent needs to be a parent before a friend, because otherwise kids can end up with a sense of kind of like entitlement. They can kind of do whatever they want. It's like, as a friend, you can push boundaries a lot more with a friend than you can with a parent. It's like, I'm the parent. No, my say actually goes, a 4-year-old is like
yeah, I'm talking about
in so many ways, a 4-year-old is not equal to their parent.
Yeah, no.
In so many ways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But as like, if when they're 20, like I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm really hip and I'm at your rate. Like, I wouldn't be like that. But at the same token, I'd be like, if you got a question to ask about, you know, about sex or about drug, whatever, you know, about whatever, then I'd be like, hey, okay, cool. I'm glad you came to me about this. I'm glad you explored these questions. I'm glad we can have this discussion or whatever. I'd be like, I'm honored that you feel that I'm close enough to you in that way.
I think a lot of parents, well, like that. So it's the acceptance and judgment again. And then, so what happens is the parents are overly judgmental and they lose, and then their parents don't trust their kids don't trust their parents, so they can't talk to their parents about those things. So then they talk to other peers and things like that. So, and parents would really, but like how it's like if your daughter's coming to you or something and saying, "Oh, I'm I'm going to a party tonight. My friends are bringing these drugs. I'm going to try them." It's like, what do you say as a parent, in that situation? Do you say you shouldn't do that, which is you're judging them, or do you say like, let me know how it is?
I think that's a separate discussion. I think how to be a parent.
How to parent is a vast subject. Yeah, but it's all relationships, right? And it's like that same thing. And I don't know. If you were married, say, would you want your partner to look up to you?
Look up to me.
Like be inspired by you and see you and go, wow. No,
I would. In the same way that I'd like to inspire him and he inspire me or her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean look up as in like she's better than me, but maybe we would be better in some areas. It's like at the end of the day, it's like it's very hard to find someone who is exactly the same in the level of efficiency, say, in any area. Like it's like let's play Mario Kart every single day for a year and see if like.
But what I mean is like
inspiration
come in many different forms, right? And it comes back to those things that we talked about at the beginning with the tenets, the 3 tenets, and how you can interpret in different ways. Inspiration, for example, I could wake up in the morning and turn over and the eyes open and a smile appears on their face. And guess what? That's inspiration for my day. They've inspired me for the day, right? That's inspiration. They don't need to be like, now, let me give you a quote that might actually, no, I don't need to hear that. Like, it can take many different forms. They can inspire me through an act of kindness that they gave to someone they don't even know. They can inspire me through a show of emotion or vulnerability. It's not a case of like, I've been to university, I've got, I'm an expert in this field, you should listen to me. It's just a case of you accept them who they are, but you see the inspiration in their everyday life. When it comes to love, every day is an inspiration. Just waking up next to someone is such a joy. We've all had those moments where, like, particularly if you're not in a relationship now, but you were in the past, and you felt those moments where you after you wake up in bed next to your loved one,
it's crazy.
And you just think, oh, you know what, today's gonna be all right. But I really like the fact that I've started the day off in a really good way. And if you're not in a relationship at the moment, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have an inspirational day. It's about finding the beauty in life, being grateful for being alive. Open the curtains, seeing the sun shining through, and how beautiful a sight that is. Feeling the warmth on your skin. Maybe I enjoy. I'm saying this live, but I enjoy. If in my privacy, standing naked in the sun. And feeling connected in that way. That's an inspiration. A lot of people may not do that, or they may do something different. Find your inspiration for you.
But there might be someone on here watching this right now that has just heard that and goes, wow, I'm going to do that, and they're modeling themselves on you in a way.
If they want it, not modeling themselves on me.
That's still modeling, because they're like, oh, she's really inspirational. Like, oh, what does she do? Oh, she stands in the sun. All right, I'm going to do that.
If you want to try it, it's really nice. I'm like a lizard, like a cat, so I enjoy it.
All right, yeah, we get it. All right, we've been at an hour and a half now, so it's been good. Yeah, I think we talked about the subject pretty well. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if this stream actually went onto the Facebook page or not.
Good question.
Yeah, I went on to Facebook and it was all glitching out. I wasn't sure if it's because I was on the stream or not. Anyway, whoever's been watching this, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you so much, and I hope you have got some value out of this. And but yeah, we'd love to have you on, like a meeting or having a discussion with us. We're all equals here. We would love to hear your thoughts. So thank you.
We've also got in a week's time, so 7 days from now, same time, same day, Thursday of next week. we've got the next meeting, which is about forgiveness.
Yes, really
Yes.
looking forward to that one. Really looking forward to that
Yeah.
one.
You're
You can go
presenting
to
that
the
one, aren't you?
website,
Yeah.
Be the Change Collective.
Yeah, I'll be presenting.
Yeah. And you can
All right.
you can sign up and get a reminder to that event via bethechangecollective.com, and there's a link to the meetup, and everyone is welcome. So it'd be great if you could join us, and yeah, we can learn about forgiveness.
Just one last thing, I'm always surprised how like we live in oh, thank you, Philip. That's really kind of you.
Thanks for coming on, Phil.
I'm always surprised how like we live in the same country, and yet I look like I'm in, you know, Antarctica, and you're in like, you know, some sunny part of the world. Like, how is it that we're in the same time, but you all have?
Well, there's probably a little bit of difference in the sunset, but to be fair, we have lights on. I have a ring light here.
Yeah, I mean, massive things, and also a window there. But
oh, okay, that explains it. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well,
I didn't sneak off to Mexico again.
Yeah.
All right.